This is my strategic audit project, Daniel Moore for Healthcare Management 495 with Professor Andy Dorr. Next slide, please. Novant Health was formed in 1997 with Carolina MedCorp of Winston-Salem and Carolina's Presbyterian Hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina. And since the merger, we have continued to grow by leaps and bounds. Next slide, please. Our mission, values, and vision of the Novant Health is Novant Health exhibits an importance of healthcare communities, one person at a time. And the vision, we at Novant Health team, we deliver the most remarkable patient experience in every dimension, every time. Learn more about how to make healthcare remarkable. And in the values, it's kind of broken down into two, into compassion and diversity, inclusion. And the compassion is where we provide each member that comes in contact with Novant Health, and we treat them with kindness, patience, empathy, and respect. And with diversity, every single person is different, and each one has a unique life experience, and this enables us to better understand others and our customers. Next slide, please. Carl Armato, he is our president and CEO, and in 2013, Presbyterian appointed him as chief COO, and he promoted him to President and Chief Executive Officer in January 2015. He was also, in 2008, he was promoted to President of Novant Health Markets, and the board appointed him to his current position in January 2012. Next slide, please. This is our executive leadership team that falls exactly right under Mr. Amato. And we can go on to the next slide, please. This is the board of directors. Mr. Amato is the only internal member of the board. Each person after that is an external member. And also we have two non-voting members in that as well. And the external stakeholders are people who are impacted by the Novant Health employees' work, and it can include clients, constituents, community partners, and others. Next slide, please. External scan, growth, demographics, and community. Novant Health is growing by leaps and bounds, but with that, obstacles come into way with other healthcare centers wanting to merge in on a territorial turf. An example is like a University of North Carolina Healthcare Systems is another medical system that is buying up smaller hospitals and bringing challenges into Novant Health. And then bids are being placed, and whoever receives the highest bid gets that area. Next slide, please. This shows our growth for licensed beds, maintained beds, inpatient discharges, adjusted patient days, ER visits, surgeries, physician office visits, newborn deliveries, and employees. And you can see from 2014 up to 2016 how we've continued to grow and increase our volume. Next slide, please. Our external community involvement in 2016, Novant Health grew more than $725.5 million in community benefits, and that's up from $706.3 million in 2015. And our community benefits includes programs or activities that provide treatment to promote health and healing in response to identified community needs and meet some of these largest optical objectives. Improve access to healthcare services, enhance the health community, advance medical health knowledge, and relieve or reduce the burden of government areas. Next slide, please. Internal stakeholders. The internal environment consists of internal stakeholders that are consistent with upper leadership and other staff within the organization. These members are committed to overseeing the functions that take place in the medical center. Stakeholders consist of several groups and backgrounds within Novant Health, and it can range from employers, managers, owners of an organization. Novant Health is a non-for-profit system which includes 1,514 medical centers, physicians in 529 physician locations, medical plazas, rehab programs, diagnostic imaging centers, and community outreach programs. Next slide, please. This is a SWOT analysis slide where you could actually has a list of different questions that you may want to ask of a corporations to kind of help you get a better feel of that. Next slide, please. The internal environment strengths and weaknesses is corporate structure, is IT support and electronic health records, and corporate culture is diversity and inclusion. The IT service accesses excellent information technology, makes a critical difference in your ability to provide outstanding care of your patients and to manage your practice most efficiently. Novant is a national leader in this area, investing in online communication tools such as Novant Health Community Connect, our comprehensive practice management and electronic health record information system. Novant Health completed a multi-year $600 million project to convert the health system to electronic records, and the fifth and final go live was completed in the summer of 2016. And our medical centers in Virginia, converting Novant Health University of Virginia Health System, Health Market Medical Centers, and Novant Health UVA Health Systems in Prince William Medical Center. In 2016, Novant Health also achieved the first milestone where it became the first health system to be revalidated for the Health Information and Management Systems Society. The key to model success is to coordinate with physicians, nurses, pharmacists, dietitians, social workers, and referral coordinators, and others working together as a team to give patients the personalized care that they want or needed. Ultimately, this type of care provides a safe and more affordable care and better outcomes in center of individual patient unique needs, and that's where the electronic health record can reach all of these different areas. Diversity, some similarities and differences of people found our workforce and marketplace. Diversity includes many characteristics such as race, age, gender, and here we encounter a great diversity team. We also have a management team that works with diversity, inclusion, integrally engaging human differences and viewing such differences and strengths in both patients and team members is the key inclusion. This action builds an environment of fosters multiple respects, trust, and commitment. Next slide, please. Rapidly grows standardizing care across the health system and turf worlds is some of the weaknesses. With Novant Health making these bids and growing, we're honestly going out and buying up and getting smaller hospitals and continuing to grow and expanding across and we're growing so fast. And with that growth, the standardized care across the health system is a weakness that we can't do because we're having to go in and train and bring how Novant Health wants it done, and you get a lot of different tension amongst new facilities because they're used to the old way and they don't like the change. Tough wars with nearly $7 billion annual in revenue. Carolina Healthcare runs about 30 hospitals and owns more than $1 billion worth of property in Mecklenburg County alone. It has more than $2 billion in investments, and in a 5-year period in 2011, it spent $1.8 billion on capital projects. Growth of Novant Health as the region's other major hospital systems has almost dynamic. Novant Health's 13 hospitals include 3 Presbyterian hospitals and a total annual revenue of more than $3 billion, and the system has a $1.6 billion in cash and investments in 2010, a 3-fold increase over the decade. It's one of the 10 of the biggest rivals in the healthcare, and that was in 2014. Next slide, please. System alignment, marketing shares, expanding marketing efforts for patients using MyChart and growing technology for the patients. Novant Health opportunity for system alignment within its healthcare. As the new system is aligned with the current alignment, it is time to get out into the community and grow and let the community know that you're there. Market sharing, where the employees can actually purchase part of the stock and help do that along with it. Could not find anywhere located where the board members were in with the market sharing, but with the expanding market and efforts, patients are using MyChart with the new technology age is coming into play, and we continue growing in technology for patient care. Next slide, please. Some of the threats, reimbursements are being decreased by the new healthcare plans, turf wars in the southeastern United States. We're trying to battle because land is just one commodity and we only have so much of it. And with changes in the health insurance plans with the new administration, that takes place, and then team reduction with the cuts being given to the hospital, the teams are reduced. Next slide, please. This is my reference slide. Next slide, please. Questions? Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Dan. Nice presentation there. And I think you covered all the main points that were needed in our assignment here. I'm going to go back to a slide here just for a moment. Let's see. SWOT analysis slide here. And it looks like you had the opportunity to kind of outline the strengths and the weaknesses and then all the opportunities and threats for the company. One thing I wondered, when you put together or looked at your SWOT analysis here, did you have anything specific to government that you felt was either a threat or potentially could be resulting as a weakness for the company when looking at different things happening in the government today facing our healthcare systems?
Yes, well, the government today facing the healthcare systems, what has happened here at our facility with the cutbacks that the government is actually giving to each individual state. North Carolina was one of the states that where the Medicaid and Medicare funding was decreased, and that impacted each facilities, and the facilities were not getting the revenue that they were used to. So during that time, we had to do actually two major layoffs, and we've lost over 5,000 employees in just the Winston-Salem market alone due to that.
Wow.
So that it was a big impact with us, and they came in two different times and did the layoff.
Wow. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and let Grant go ahead with his.
Yeah, that led me into another question, Dan. With that threat of the government, and their reimbursement decreases and stuff, what objectives are you guys going to, or I can't see it very well, but I'm sure there's a plan to interfere with those reimbursement rates, or how?
Well, Grant, good question. What they are actually looking into is working with our current governor, and hopefully with the restructure of the teammates and the different departments and stuff, they are actually making increasing profit now with the restructure. What they actually did was kind of hard to find, but what we do know is that they were working with the governor and Medicaid and Medicare and trying to make sure everything's getting, like, all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed to make sure you're getting the most reimbursements back into the corporation as well. And just meeting with the upper governmental leaderships. And
right. And then with the growth, one more question. With the growth of your company, are they expanding out of North Carolina then, or?
Yes, they are. We are actually we are in right at Washington, D.C., but still in Virginia, but it's right there, right at Washington, D.C., as far north as we are now, and we go all the way down into Georgia, and they are looking to expand into Florida and more into the D.C. area and up north.
Oh, okay, great. Nice. Okay. Hi, my name is Grant Hoyt. I'll be discussing the Strategic Audit Simulation Project, Assignment 6.3 for Franklin University Healthcare Management Capstone Course. Our instructor is Andy Dorr. Next, please. The strategic audit of rehab care is being the largest rehabilitation company in the country with over 18,000 therapists working with patients in over 1,500 locations ranging over the 47 states, with a mission statement to restore and improve the quality of life for those we serve, the patients and residents we treat, the family members with whom we interact, the therapists we employ, and the customers with whom we partner. I was able to interview Jewel Shout, which I didn't have a slide of a picture of hers, which I don't think I was supposed to, but she has over 20 years of clinical experience as a master occupational therapist, and she was promoted within those years for the last 7 years. She was going to be a project manager, which then put up to the last 5 years where she got promoted to the area director of operations, overseeing 7 states and 33 different units. This slide just shows us the corporate governance and how oh. Okay, now I see it. Am I there?
Yep.
Okay. The corporate governance is run and directed by a board the size of 7 to 9 members. Never any more than 9 is what they want to stay with. There's no limit on the terms of the board members, although at the age of 75, a board member must step down without further election. Not more than 2 members can be employed by the organization at the time for the board. Although a former employee can be elected, there is a guideline for the external members. They must have stock ownership. The internal members also have to have stock ownership, but they have a 5-year expectancy to purchase their shares. Next slide. That's skipped. Skipped again. There it is. The management structure. This is how they do it. They have Rehab Care has all therapists as their vice president, director of operations, regional director of operations, area director of operations, and the program manager. Each one internally promoted. Next slide. The main focus on the corporate culture being that we're all professionals, from physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech pathologists. Their focus is first on patient outcomes, then billing, facility compliance, legal matters, documentation reviews, coding audits. If I didn't explain it before, Rehab Care actually, our clients are nursing homes. We offer the services in the nursing home, so since there's so many of us and being the largest in the country, we're always growing with another nursing home. The facility relationships are governed by these professionals. The changing of regulations, as we talk about reimbursement and things like that, is done by another special unit within the company that's their only thing they do, is they predetermine changes in our government's reimbursement rates, changes in codes, things like that. As we're being told already, we've already got the codes for 2018 that are changing for rehabilitation services. Next slide, please. The external environment, I broke it down into a weighted system from the social culture, the business, the economy, the competition, the technology. It's weighted out like that because there's always a risk. With professionals, we just try really hard to stick to the mission of Rehab Care to improve the quality of life for those we serve, and the strong will to achieve patient satisfaction with the professional guidance to healing. Repeated through every facility is patient outcome, patient outcome. How's your patient outcome? But then we have the responding to the changes to the healthcare environment. The corporate group that changes is constantly looking at that because there's always a risk. The external environment, now this is a neat discovery when I had a third chance to actually meet with my interviewer because she's from Kentucky. I met her and she got a phone call and we had a therapist from another facility actually state that they billed for services and never entered the facility. Immediately there's a legal thing and reimbursement has to be repaid and stuff that like the external environment of every facility, there's always a risk. Next slide, please. As with our strategic factors, as we weighed it out in a SWOT program, I had the measurements before out there. I couldn't get it into the slide. But when we went through it to try, or when I went through it to try to figure out what's best for the company to expand or add with a new strategic management, I chose to make a program called Home Health right from our facility. Next slide, please. Following the same mission of the company is to the quality of patients' life and the people we work with. We're actually, the growth will improve our outcomes for our standard client, which is the skilled nursing home, that has to be a 5-star rating. That rating is done by a survey, which our company also surveys every one of our patients. That survey, the 5-star rating, is done by CMS. CMS actually governs and comes into the facilities and interviews, makes phone calls to these elderly patients, and then rates it on their matrix, giving the nursing home their skills. Because we do service as an improvement to this, with the stability of our company, the innovation of technology, we capture the audience or the patients and then score. Next slide, please. To evaluate my strategic plan, I put it into another matrix by going from the census evaluation to improve the census. We have, right now we're 3%. Current performance, goal is to go to 6% in a time. Performance productivity, there's 10 facilities with, and the HHRS, I don't know if it showed on the other side, is Home Health Rehabilitation Services, was in 10. The goal is to go to 50 different nursing homes to have that home's health go straight from that home. Improving the readmittance, because the 5-star rating, if I can go over this, the 5-star rating done by CMS actually takes the biggest hit when a patient is readmitted into the hospital that we've already seen for the same symptoms or same diagnosis. So by improving that, we're not only improving the quality of life for the patients that we serve, but we're also improving the quality of the star rating for our clients. Next slide, please. Oh, I go straight into questions. And my references.
Thanks, Grant. That's a great presentation of your organization. So I'm just going to go back a few slides here for a moment. Actually, I wanted to make a comment. This evaluation and control. I thought this was a great presentation of how you're planning, or how the company is going to plan to take a look at how to control things after they've implemented the changes. So I just want to comment on that. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna step back here. So I apologize, my cat's making some noise back here. So when you were looking at the overall external environment in comparison to your company, what would you say your company is doing best right now to help mitigate those additional threats or items outside of the company that are impacting your company?
Relationship building.
Okay.
relationship building within the facilities, because every management, we get to see the area, the regionals. They actually come into the facility, but the program managers that we work with every day builds that relationship best with the client as they are, which is the administrator of the nursing homes and things like that. So that building of a family, within it's a local community. Each employee, even though we're an external company, out of Kentucky, the organization and employees here in, well, I'm in Michigan, actually live and work here in Michigan and have quite some time.
Okay, nice answer there. I'll let Dan go ahead with his question.
Grant, that was a good presentation, and I really did like the graphics and the different charts that you included in your presentation. Thank you very much for that. My question is, again, you stated that Kindred Healthcare, which they do have some facilities here in North Carolina as well, but going into the nursing homes and picking up new clients with the reimbursements that you get, how is that going to affect Kindred as a whole with the new governmental administration that's in office? Are you seeing cutbacks on that as far as payments? Are clients being referred to you because the insurances are not paying what they normally would?
Clients are coming in. It's from Medicare, Medicaid. We've seen the cuts. In there, Kindred actually sold off their skilled nursing home, a bunch of units. Actually, the area manager that I did interview actually had 47 and down to 33 because of that. And that brings in other competition things, but they felt that them owning the home was more of a conflict because, they own it. They also have the rehab, so they didn't want any government barks on CMS in that way. The overall quality of what Kindred stands for with their hospitals and things all over the country, it helps. It helps to be part of such a big organization. When Rehab Care joined in 1982, they were coming up as one of the largest rehabilitation companies, and then Kindred ended up purchasing them and putting them on the thing, and that just made them stronger.
Thank you very much. One more question, if you don't mind, sir.
Yeah.
Now, as far as patients needing in-home therapy, do you expect a growth in that versus patients who want to not go to a nursing home? Is Kindred going to just specialize in a certain? It's broke down in different areas, but are they going to specialize to incorporate more in-home therapy versus nursing home or hospital therapies?
I think our environment is doing that for us. With home health, I've seen a big cut in orthopedic patients coming into the skilled nursing facilities because they can receive home health and go home to their families. But then there's those that don't have anybody to care for them at home, such as help them get food and some basic ADLs. They would come in and hopefully get better and get back home as quickly as can. But with home health, I see a big emphasis to stay in the homes due to the fundings by our government. It's a heck of a lot cheaper to go home and receive rehabilitation services than it is to stay in a skilled nursing facility and receive them.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, good job.